wiring in place. Fish tape it is. Boom. Tie that off right there. All right. The wiring for the lighting LEDs is in place. More things we need. Let's get this piece. And then main power. And the only other thing we really need is back camera. All right, let's do this. Pull this guy, 10 screw points there. Just gonna dab them with silicone. A lot of people ask about this. And then throw a little bead right at the seam. Not much. Bad boy back in there. Come on. Come on, baby. There. A little bit more. There we go. Check. All right, we're good. And this is the big thing. Don't drill drive these things in. You're just gonna rip away material when it comes to the maximum torque point. These are number 10s, by the way. And then the last recommendation is to get one in, cross over to the opposite side. Trying to get as much balance out of this as we can. Don't over torque them. At that point you'll just be ripping kayak material away. There we go. We're good. Next one is going to be for this. The marker won't go through. Just going to go ahead and ad hoc this. Alright, so let's throw those two in first. Same stuff, silicone it up. Alright. Silicone those up. Oh, that's freaking cool. The way that angles, it gets it out of the way a little bit more than I even anticipated. And buys us just a slightly wider angle. Sweet. And before we wrap it up for the evening, let's get this guy centered. Pilots in. And drive the screws. And there we go. The screw hardware, by the way, came with the plug. Working on the lighting loop right now. For the lighting, I've got a single line. It goes from here to here, over to here, over to here, which will connect up to a switch on the console that I've built. We'll go through that in a little bit. So what have we got left? Tie up all the electrical. I've got to do a little bit more cutting to facilitate the switch plate. Peripherals, connect everything up, test it, and then we got to put the handles on. So all should be pretty easy as long as I'm fairly methodical about it. I guess the goal is to just try to get as much done before it gets hot today, because it's supposed to be quite warm this afternoon with more threats of thunderstorms. Try to stay on the task while it's nice and quiet and fairly cool out here. This fog in the background, I'd rather be out throwing top water right now, but gotta get this done. So right now for the LEDs, all I'm doing is getting this chain 100% in line, and we'll connect them up and heat shrink everything. Doing my best to get the heat shrink on there before I finalize the connections. I am known for forgetting. So for those wondering, the heat shrinking both makes it a little more aesthetically pleasing, not like you're ever going to see this stuff, but it also adds a layer of waterproofing protection. All right, let's grab some LEDs and install them. Cool. Perfect. that 3/4 inch hole, these guys just beautifully snap into place and are very, very waterproof. There we go. Hopefully I have the polarity correct here. And there we go, lit up. All right, cool. I guess at this point we move on to the switch plate. Pilots in. Last one. There we go. For the 2 additional rod holders, I tried a couple of brands out there, but they just don't fit. It's too much involved, and there's no real good way to mount them. So I've fabricated something.
We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication.
So what we've got here is Schedule 40 1.5 inch inside diameter PVC and its associated clamps. I cut them down, sanded them with 60 grit, even in the little nooks and crannies of the clamps. Waiting on these to dry right now. The paint, Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Paint Plus Primer. This stuff is actually called Dark Walnut, but it's a nice shade of black that matches the Kayak really well. So we're waiting for those to dry up and we'll get those installed. All right, Scotty low profile tracks. I'm gonna have to do this slightly differently. Let's go for those. Those are screws right down the middle on both sides. Just gonna temporarily batten those down, just temporarily, so we can get the rest of our holes drilled. I can't really get the Sharpie to hit the Kayak plastic. So as you can see, as I was drilling those are guided. So it should be pretty easy to get the rest of the holes at this point. All right, take those screws out. Again, as we've been doing the entire time, that pilot is about half the diameter of the meat of the screw. Let's get those siliconed up. All right, once again, we're not trying to overdo it. Just little dabs over the screw holes. Most of you know how these tracks work. You insert your device and lock it down in this part of the track. On this kayak, you're probably going to want things as forward as possible, so install it with a Scotty side label facing the wrong way if you're sitting in the seat. And last one. We go for that one. You get the idea. I'll do the other one off camera. I think that's gonna do it, folks. Let's get this one down a little bit. That's it. I think we got it. Mark our holes. There we go.